Hello YouTube! Phainon is the first new character we are going to be able to pull and play with on the version 3.4, and having such an highlight on the Euphoria's story made everyone wonder his potential in game. My name is DPS, and in this video I will talk about everything you need to know about Phainon, what he does, how to build him, who can you pair him with, everything. Just before the video starts, don't forget to leave your like and your sub if you find this video useful or simply if you want to support my work. That will help YouTube recommending my videos to everyone else. Also, 98% of you are not following the channel and I always post content every day, so I'm sure you won't regret it. If you want, follow me on my other socials as well to be on par with everything related to me. All the links will be down on the description. And without any more furthers, let's start talking about Phainon's kit. Phainon is a 5-star physical character that follows the path of the destruction and its focus on being a DPS focused towards zero cycling. On his basic attack, Stride to Deliverance, Phainon deals physical damage based on his attack to one enemy. When he uses his skill, Let There Be Light, Phainon gains 2 points of Core Flame, which will be used to battery his ultimate, and deals physical damage based on his attack to one enemy and adjacent targets. On his ultimate, He Who Bears the World Must Burn, Phainon transforms into an enhanced Phainon, I guess, and deploys a territory during transformation. Other teammates in the territory will become disheartened and cannot take actions, and all enemies gain physical weakness. During this transformation, Phainon does not have his own turn, but has 8 extra turns, with a fixed speed equal to 60% of his base speed. And at the start of the final extra turn, he will immediately launch a final hit that deals physical ultimate damage based on his attack that is distributed evenly across all enemies. During this transformation, Phainon will be able to use 3 enhanced abilities, 1 enhanced basic attack and 2 enhanced skills. On his enhanced basic attack, Creation Bloodthorn Fairy, Phainon will obtain 2 Scorch points, which will be used to battery his second enhanced skill, and he will deal physical damage based on his attack to one enemy and adjacent targets. On his first enhanced skill, Calamity, Soul Scorch Edict, Phainon gains Scourge equal to the number of enemy targets on the field and 1 stack of Soul Scorch. Then, forces all enemies to immediately take their turns. While in the Soul Scorch state, Phainon takes 70% less damage and gains 1 extra stack of Soul Scorch each time an enemy takes an action. After all enemies take their actions, he instantly launches a counter-attack, dealing physical damage based on his attack to all enemies, followed by 4 more hits, each dealing physical damage based on his attack as well. After the counter, Soul Rending Blaze is removed, and each stack of Soul Rending Blaze increases the counter's damage by 20% of its original multiplier, and its damage counts as skill damage. If Soul's Rending Blaze is still active when Phainon begins his extra turn, he will immediately launch another counter attack. And on his second enhanced skill, the most powerful and the one you will want to battery with the other abilities, Foundation, Stardeath Verdict, Phainon dispels all debuffs present on himself and deals physical damage based on his attack. In that, for every 1 point of Scorch consumed, deals 4 instances of damage, with each instance being physical damage based on his attack dealt to one random enemy. And when consuming 4 points of Scorch, which means the max amount you can consume per attack, you will additionally deal physical damage, and this damage is evenly distributed to all enemies. On his talent, Pyric Corpus, just like other characters like Phainon or Ekron, Phainon ultimate does not require energy, and can be activated when Core Flame reaches 12 points. After reaching the max limit, up to 3 excess points can be accumulated, and at the end of the transformation, he gains Core Flames based on the excess points. Also, when Phainon is the target of any target's ability, no matter if it's an ally or an enemy, he gains 1 point of Core Flame. If this ability comes from one of Phainon's teammates, additionally increases Phainon's crit damage for 3 turns. Also, during transformation, Phainon gains access to an enhanced talent called Fate Divine Vessel. When transforming, Phainon gains 4 points of Scourge right away. If he transforms during an ally target's turn, all buffs on that ally target will be extended by 1 turn and their current turn ends. During transformation, Phainon is immune to Crown Control debuffs and has 1 enhanced basic attack and 2 enhanced skills, but he cannot use his ultimate. During his transformation, his attack and HP will also be increased and he will restore 20% of his HP after attacking enemies. If by any chance you die during this transformation, Phainon will not be knocked down, and he will instead restore HP equal to 25% of his max HP and immediately launch his final hit. For every 1 remaining extra turn he has, the final's hit damage multiplier reduces by 12.5% of its original multiplier, and when the transformation ends, increases all ally speed by 15%, lasting for 1 turn. And for last, on his technique, beginning of the end, while Phainon is in the team, increases max technique points by 3. When actively using this technique, he will consume 2 skill points instead, but he will immediately attack all enemies within a certain range. After entering battle, regenerates 25 energy for allies and gains 2 Scourge and 1 skill point. And he will deal physical damage equal to 200% of his attack to all enemies at the start of each wave. But if attacking a normal enemy, just like Akron, Phainon immediately defeats them without entering combat and no technique points are consumed if no enemies are hit. Now that we know how Phainon works, it's now time to talk about his traces and priorities to level up. On his minor traces, Phainon will get a total of 37.3% crit damage, 12% crit rate, and 5 speed. I know, all perfect stats, and the dream of almost every DPS. On his first major trace, March to Oblivion, at the start of the battle, gains 1 point of Core Flame, and when the transformation ends, gains 3 points of Core Flame. On his second major trace, Bite in Flames, when receiving healing effects or shields from a teammate, increases damage dealt by 45% for 4 turns, and this effect cannot be triggered repeatedly between one turn. And when receiving energy regenerated ability effects provided by teammates, Phainon gains 1 point of Core Flame. And for last, on his third major trace, Shine with Valor, when entering battle or when the transformation ends, increases Phainon attack by 50%, and this effect can stack up to 2 times. For his trace priorities, you should focus on your skill, talent, basic and ultimate with all similar priorities. So yeah, he's another character that is super expensive, but in a way, it's worth to level it up. Now, let's talk about Phainon Eidolons for those who, just like me, were saving a lot for him. With his E1, for every enemy target defeated within one transformation, the inheritance ratio of Phainon's extra turn speed further increases by 1%, up to 84%. And when using ultimate, the crit damage increases by 50%, lasting for 3 turns. On his E2, on his transformation, Phainon physical res pen increases by 20%, and when consuming 4 Scourge to use his second enhanced skill, Phainon gains 1 extra turn. His E3 increases the level of his ultimate by 2 and the level of his basic attack by 1. With his E4, when using his first enhanced skill, which means the counter attack, he will additionally gain 4 stacks of Soul Scourge. His E5 increases the level of his skill and talent by 2, and with his E6, the number of overflow point of Core Flame no longer has an upper limit, and when battle starts, Phainon gains 6 Core Flames. After using his second enhanced skill, additionally deals true damage equal to 36% of the total damage dealt in this attack to the enemy with the highest HP. Now, let's talk about the best relics and planetary ornament sets you could use on your Phainon. His best in slot set will be the 4-piece Wave Strider Captain, which increases his crit damage by 16% on the 2-piece, while giving him 48% attack for 1 turn after using the ultimate, as long as he was at least a target of 2 allies' abilities, something that with Phainon will happen pretty much every time. And thanks to the fact that buffs don't end during his ultimate, you will always have a free 48% attack during your ultimates. Another good set you can use while you are farming for his best in slot is 4-piece Scholar Lost in Erudition, which will increase his crit rate by 8% on its 2-piece effect and increase his ultimate damage by 20% and his skill damage between 20 and 45% depending if you use your ultimate or not. Once again, Scholar proving to be an amazing universal set. If you are an OG player and you are still farming for his best in slot, you can also use 4-piece Champion of Streetwise Boxing, which will give him 10% physical damage on its 2-piece effect and up to 25% attack for the whole battle depending on the number of times Phainon attacks or gets attacked. But if you are still farming for a complete set, or you don't want to use any of these options, you can still mix and match 2 pieces between the sets that provide crits, damage percent and attack percent. For planar ornaments, his best in slot set will be the new planar Arcadia of Woven Dreams, which will give Phainon a 36% damage buff once he uses his ultimate and becomes alone in the battlefield. And for last, another decent option not that far behind is Woodland Arena, which will give Phainon 8% crit rate and 20% basic and skill damage if his crit rate reaches 70% or higher, something that you should aim for anyways. And one thing to have in mind is that if you have cracked pieces from Woodland Arena, maybe it's not worth it to use your resin on his new best in slot planar if you want to farm for other things, because these two sets are really tight on damage. Now that we know what set to farm, let's now talk about the stats you need to be looking for. For the chest, crits, with a major focus on crit rate since he already gets crit damage from his kit and teams. For the boots, speed if you are going to play with your supports with -1 speed compared to Phainon, or attack percent if you are going to play with hyper speed supports. For the sphere, physical damage, and for the rope, attack percent. For the substats, you should focus on crits, attack, and speed if needed. For Phainon Lightcones, his best insult will be his signature, Thus Burns the Dawn, increasing your base speed by 12, already making him just a speed boost away from 136 speed, while also making Phainon ignore 18% of the target's defense and making him deal 60% more damage after using his ultimate and until the start of the next turn. Other 5-star options you can use if you have them in your inventory or if you plan on going after them are Jingliu signature Lightcone, Imbibitor Lunae signature Lightcone, or even Clara signature Lightcone. But some of them might not be worth to use, especially when considering the next Lightcones I'm going to mention. By the way, since Saber will be also a destruction character, maybe her signature Lightcone will also be a good option for Phainon, so keep that in mind if you are going to pull for her Lightcone. His best insult F2P Lightcone will be the Dare to Shop Lightcone on the fall of an Aeon, providing tons of attack and damage buffs. And since you can S5 this Lightcone totally for free, the attack and damage buffs will only become better. His best 4-star option will be the new Battle Pass Lightcone, A Trail of Bygone Blood, which will increase Phainon's crit rate by 12% and his skill and ultimate damage by 24%. And for last, you can always use the Moles Welcome You or Under the Blue Sky if those are the only options you have available for now, but I highly advise you to upgrade your Lightcone when you can. For Phainon teams, he will be a character that will need at least one action advancer on his team, while also wanting to be targeted by abilities from the allies. And since he will act a lot thanks to his buffers, sometimes the use of a sustainer will not be needed. With this being said, these are some team options. For his best in slot team, pair him with 2 action advancers, Sunday and Bronya being his best in slot supports for now. And then for the last slot, pair him with Robin, Tribi, Sparkle, Tingyun, or even Remembrance MC. It's your choice. For a Cypher team, pair him with Sunday, Bronya, and Cypher. And for an F2P team, pair him with Tingyun, Remembrance MC, and Wukong or Gallagher. Just don't forget, you don't need to do these exact teams, you always have other characters that have similar functions with the ones I talked about. And on Phainon's case, I actually believe his true dedicated and best in slot support will come in the future. So don't feel pressure to pull for one of these characters just for him, especially Robin or Tribi. And if you have some teams that didn't appear here and you want to share them, leave your favorite teams down in the comments for all of us to give it a look. So, what do you think about Phainon? Are you going to pull for him? Or even after the story you don't like his playstyle and gameplay? Thank you so much for staying until the end. If you like this video, don't forget to leave your sub and your like. 98% of you are not following the channel and I always post content every day, so I'm sure you won't regret it. Follow me on my other socials if you want to be on par with everything related to me, and don't forget to leave your opinion down in the comments section. My name is DPhoenix and it was my pleasure having you here. Catch you all on the next one, good luck with your pulls, bye bye.